Your current friend group might be the reason why you are currently behind in your life, why you're not where you want to be, why you just can't seem to be progressing or moving ahead. And for a lot of people, that stings because the friend group that you have has been in your life for 20, 25, for some of you, even 40 or 50 years. And to know that your friend group has been holding you back and that in order to progress or move ahead, you're going to have to distance yourself from this friend group. That becomes a challenge for a lot of people because there's so much emotional attachment to this group. But then if you think about the other side, the same group is not motivated. They're not striving to become better versions of themselves. They're not elevating. They're not taking courses. They're not in coaching. They're not getting more educated, not doing whatever it takes, gaining more skills to become better. And if you are a part of a group of friends like that, that you communicate with on a consistent basis, then you will also become like that group that you are in. So, welcome back to another episode of Marcel Hyde Coaching. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you're finding any type of value from these videos that I do produce, share this to a friend, a family member, or someone that you think can benefit from this message. And also, my community is now available, weekly coaching, where you'll get discipline, you'll get accountability, you'll hear a bunch of knowledge that you could take and apply to your own life that's going to help you elevate. You're going to get some motivation and some inspiration. If you're someone that is afraid to take that step in your life, you're going to hear some encouragement to push you to take that step. And it's a great community to be a part of because there's other like-minded people in this community that are looking to grow, to elevate, to reach their full potential, to become better versions of themselves. And essentially, who you hang around is who you become. All right. Who you decide to hang around is essentially who you become. And for a lot of us, it's hard to actually see that because when you're in the frame, you can't see the picture. But from an outsider perspective, if I see a group of people together and they've been together for 5, 10, 15, 20, or even 25 years, there's obviously commonalities between these individuals. That's why they're able to stay in this friendship for so long. Because if they had nothing in common, then they wouldn't be around each other. They wouldn't spend time with each other. Because naturally, as human beings, we tend to gravitate towards people like ourselves. So if you want to find out a lot about yourself, look at your inner circle, right? And if you look at your inner circle and you're absolutely like, this is a terrible inner circle, then yesterday was the perfect time to change that inner circle. And if you didn't do it yesterday, today's the best time to do it because life's too short to be in an inner circle where people are not growing, people are not developing, people are staying in the same positions, people haven't grown out of certain things that you used to do maybe 15, 20 years ago. They're doing the same things. And maybe at one stage of your life, you were doing that. You were partying, you were drinking, you were going out. And at that stage, it was acceptable or it was fine because you were young. You didn't have much responsibility. You didn't really understand life. But if you're in your late 20s or early 30s and you're still doing those things, and those type of people are part of your inner circle, then it's time to change that inner circle with people who are elevating or getting better. Not to say they're already there. It'd be great to have people in your corner or people in your inner circle who already are where you want to be. But I get that. Sometimes it's hard. But if you have people that are striving towards that, then keep those people in your inner circle. Connect with those people because those type of people are going to have certain habits, daily habits. They know that in order to become successful, it's either in their business or successful in their career as an employee. They know that it takes a lot of sacrifice, discipline, mentorship, commitment, trial. There's so much that goes into getting to higher levels. And if you want that for yourself, because not everyone wants to be the CEO of a company or be a manager of a company or be the top of their company. Not everyone wants to make 200,000 or not everyone wants to make a million, right? So know what it is for you and understanding what it is for you. But if you're someone that's watching this video and you're someone that wants to earn the top of your company, let's say there's someone in your company and they're earning whatever they're earning and you're not earning what they're earning, you're like, I want to earn that amount of income, then realize you're going to have to transcend as a person. The same person you are today and the income that you're making is not going to get you to that level that that person is at, that you want to be at. That's not possible. It's possible to get there, but you have to change as a person. You have to develop as a person. You have to gain the skill set. You have to maybe gain the discipline at that level. There's more discipline. Maybe you have to gain the communication skills, the communication style, the political acuity, right? To reach higher levels, the emotional intelligence to get to higher levels. So those are things that you have to work on, not just theoretically, but also practically, right? So put yourselves in positions where you could gain the experience, take on more responsibility, take on bigger positions, take on bigger roles. Don't be afraid to shift companies. Don't be afraid to try different positions within your company. That's going to help you gain different skill sets. Don't stay stagnant. Always continue to move, always continue to develop, always continue to get better. And remember, along the process, sometimes it's hard to really see your progress. And there's different ways to measure your progress. If you're trying to lose 50 pounds, you can go on a scale and you could weigh yourself and you could see, am I actually losing weight based on my diet and the things I'm eating? And you could do it weekly. You could do it bi-weekly. Some people weigh themselves daily. You're not going to lose much day by day, but you could see every other day, every couple of days, you weigh yourself. You've been eating good. You can see that maybe you lost a pound in a week or 2 or 3, depending on how you're eating and the diet that you've decided to commit to. You can look at your career and have you progress to the same level. And if you're at the same level, you have to ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you not doing? And then you have to see what you need to do in order to progress forward. Maybe it's a course. Maybe it's a mentorship. Maybe it's just more time, right? For everybody, it's different depending on what field you're in. Maybe it's putting yourself out there more. Maybe it's joining a committee. Maybe it's volunteering more. Maybe it's taking on more. Maybe it's working later. It's all different for everybody. But if that's what you want for yourself, then you could definitely do it. There's no doubt that you can accomplish the things that you want. And the important thing is having the right mindset, right? While you're going through this process, is believing that you're going to get there. When you take the action, you should have no doubt in your mind that you're going to get there because you're taking the action. When you're developing yourself, when you're gaining the skills, when you're being disciplined, when you're focused, when you're seeking, when you're asking questions, then you should believe that the future is bright for you. Things are going to work out for you. And where some people quit or some people go wrong is they quit, right? Because they're not there right now or the result isn't happening immediately. They want the instant results. So they just end up quitting. They've been disciplined, focused, making sacrifices, and they've been doing it for 6 months to a year. And they're like, oh, I don't really notice my life changing drastically. And they just say, it's not worth it and stop and then resort back or default back to how they were before without realizing that they just put in 6 months to a year of work, which is compounded. And if you do that day in and day out, year over year over year, eventually you wake up as a CEO, as a director, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, whatever it is that you aspire to be, as a coach, as someone who has a massive community. But if you stop, you won't get there. So it's remembering and keeping that mindset that you're going to get there. You're going to reach your goal. But before you get there, you're going to have to put out a lot of fires. And that's just the reality of achieving success. Getting to high levels is essentially what it takes. And the trial and putting out the fires prepares you for when you get to that goal that you set for yourself. Because you never will get to that place or that goal without becoming a certain type of person, a certain type of individual. That's why there's only certain amount of spots in a company, right? There's only one CEO. If you talk about professional athletes, there's only a certain amount of professional athletes. Not everyone can be the CEO. Not everyone can be the professional athlete. Know what you are destined to be or work on developing yourself so you figure out what your potential is. What are you meant for in this life? What did God bring you here to accomplish, to do, to become? And your ultimate goal is to work towards that, to figure out what that is. And then for some of you, it was the CEO. For some of you, it was the professional athlete. For some of you, it was just a caseworker or a frontline worker, or it was a police officer, or it was a lawyer, it was a judge. But discovering what it is that you're put here to do and fulfilling that and listening to the calling, right? The calling that we all have. We all have a calling for something. Don't ignore that calling. Walk towards that calling and develop it. And I always say that just because something is your calling, it doesn't mean that it's just going to be easy for you. You're just going to get to it without developing yourself. All right. And that's why I've developed my community, because along your process, there's going to be times when you want to give up. Along your process, things are not going to make sense. And that's why my community is a great place where we keep your mindset in the right place, thinking the right things. In my community, we allow you to have the right thoughts, the right self-talk. So you're saying the right things to yourself because you're programming yourself essentially. And we got to program ourselves, and our default's got to fall back to like, things are going to work for us. My future's bright. We don't want your default to be like, nothing's going to work out for me. I'm not going to achieve this. I'm not going to achieve that. And if that's your default, this is not the channel for you. This is not the community for you. There's other channels that want that to be your default or have that as your default. But this channel is about growth, having a growth mindset, believing you can accomplish your goals, being disciplined, making sacrifices, going through the process, trusting the process, trusting yourself and believing in yourself, becoming a better version daily, monthly. The same person you are today is not the same person you're going to be tomorrow and the next day, because you're always improving. You're always getting better. And this short span of life that you have, make the most of it. Utilize the time, because I always mention, and you could go back to previous episodes, I always tell you that time will just pass. And I've been doing YouTube for 4 years now, and time has passed. Am I where I want to be? No. But am I where I was 4 years ago? No, I'm in a different place. I'm more evolved. I'm more confident. I communicate better. And the only reason I could do that is because I kept going through the process. Even though I wasn't getting many views, I kept going. I recently had a video that's still getting views. It's close to 20K views right now, I believe, or just under. But to get that amount of organic views took me close to 4 years, organic. And some people will say, oh, you're not doing something right, or your content's not good. And maybe that's the case. Maybe my content wasn't good. Maybe it took me 4 years to actually deliver a message where it's emotionally touching someone, because it takes time to develop certain skills. So if I didn't start, then how would I have developed the skills? How would I have developed a way of drawing people in and understanding human emotion? Right? So the moral of that is post your content, because you're going to have to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what you're good at, what you need to tweak. But if you don't do that, if you don't jump in the game and you sit in the sidelines, then you're never going to get better. You're never going to get to your destination. You're never going to improve. All right. So don't wait. Create your content. Jump into my community for weekly coaching calls. And remember, your mindset is everything. Peace and love. Until next time. Marcel Hyde Mindset.